Thank you. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much, Amy. Today, my name is Patrick Fuzzerini. Let's start there. And I'm with the k-ecommerce team. So k-ecommerce is a business-to-business e-commerce platform specifically designed for Microsoft Dynamics. And its goal is to enable the key information that comes out of the ERP and use that or leverage it for an online store. Right? So today I'm going to be going through pretty much just the demo of our solution in the 15 minutes that we have. And I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. If there are any questions or comments, feel free to write them in the chat. Otherwise, we will get into it. Let me know when you can see my screen. Should be now.
Yep, you're good to go.
All good. Great. I'm going to close my camera just to make sure it's quick enough. Perfect. So as I said, we're going to go through a demo here today. This is a test store or online store that I've set up, just a generic, I'll say business to business type industrial store that sells all sorts of things from replacement parts to new equipment to office or, you know, facility supplies and so on and so forth. So that's what this store does. And as I said, it's primarily set up for business to business. Um, Before I get into the actual customer facing side, it's important for me to mention that the overall visuals of the store that you see here are totally controlled by you using the content management system that is provided, right? So the general look and feel of this site was done by me. I have the ability to change the logo, obviously to put my logo, the color scheme that you see, general colors, images, and so on. These are all set up using our easy to use tools, right? So there's no need for coding or any sort of technical skills. It's a lot of drag and drop, select your images, and so on. That's how you create this store. Now, once that's all done, uh, we can get into it, and that's where we're pretty much from this point forward going to be focusing on the customer's journey, right? So you can pretend that you're a customer at this point in time, and we can take it from there. So to start things off, at this point, I'm not signed in, right? So I'm a general customer visiting this platform for the first time, or maybe, before logging in. And the idea is if I select one of the categories to try and shop, I may gain access to see some items, but I can't actually purchase them. You can see here that it says connect to view my price. And that's all with the goal of being business to business specific, right? In the B2B space, we don't necessarily let the public purchase our goods. They have to be registered customers with us. We need to know who they are. In some cases, you might want to show retail price, but hide that price entirely, which is possible here in the system. In other cases in the B2B space, you might want to hide your items entirely, so they can't even see what's available in the system until they've actually logged in, right? So all these different options are available just depending on what one might need. And to further that point, if we did want to open this up to the general public, that's obviously possible as well. The system can not only be business to business focused, but it can also be direct to consumer focused. Meaning that if I visited this site in a consumer context, we would see the potential to add items to cart as we've all probably shopped online before. So I still can't purchase because I haven't signed in. And before I sign in, I do have one other important point to talk about. So as I said, we have plenty of business to business specific tools when it comes to e-commerce. And one of them is the idea of what we call secure catalogs or secure product catalogs. And this simply means that you have the ability to control who sees or who has access to buy the products that you so choose. And what I mean is a different customer or two different customers can shop on the same store and see entirely different product offerings to which they can buy, all depending on who they are and what they might need to purchase and maybe their affiliation with you, right? So we can be very specific and personalized in the approach that we have for each and every B2B customer in the system. In the direct-to-consumer space, that's not necessarily the case, right? Normally, you don't know who that consumer is. So you show them a blanket list of items with a blanket price and they, shop around and purchase, right? So both of those ideas are totally supported. Now, since I can't really purchase, I'm going to go ahead and sign in to make this demo a little bit more interesting. With my username and password, I can very easily log in as a returning customer if I've been given access. And if we want to register potentially as a new customer, we have that option here as well. When it comes to new customer registration, there's a lot that I can talk about there, but for now, I'll just say we can either hide this if you don't want to register new customers, or we can make it available so that they sign in, either don't have access, right? So they'd sign in and be frozen until you approve them, or you can give them full access from day one with maybe generic pricing that everyone would get. All that to say, I'm going to sign in here, and as I go ahead and log in, I'll gain this account selection page. Now, this page is optional, not mandatory by any means. The idea is that with the system, we're replicating, obviously, the relationship that you have on your customer accounts, right? So that means you have a customer record, but you might also have individual contacts or people within those customer records that can purchase, right? So one-to-many ratio. At the same time, if you have one individual who might be able to buy for multiple customers in your system, well, that's what you're seeing here, right? As an individual, I may be a manager of multiple locations, but each of these locations pay their bills separately. They have different billing addresses, and for that reason, we've separated them in finance and operations. And so with that, when I sign in as a user, it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to sign in as customer 6 or customer 8? And I have the choice, right? So as I said, if the setup needs this, we can set it up. Otherwise, most businesses will just jump straight to this page when they sign in. And this page demonstrates some key information, such as the latest orders placed under the account. So here I'm showing the last 5 orders. This information is all coming from the ERP, right? So anytime a new order is created, you're going to see it here in the list, and you're also going to see the status of these orders. And the status changes depending on what is happening in Dynamics. As that order changes from a sales order to an invoice, as maybe you posted that invoice, maybe you've added shipping information. Anytime these sort of events occur, we're looking at those, and with our tight integration to the ERP, we automatically update the status so that the customer is aware. So it's not just about placing orders through the system, it's also about visibility into the account information and not having to call into customer service every time I have a question about my account. So I can jump into one of these orders, but I can also go into a full order history, right? So I talked about the last 5 orders, but I can go much deeper than that. So let's say I'm the type of customer who needs to search for an order placed last year. Well, I can open these up, enter any of the search criteria, and see the results listed. And then, naturally, I can open up one of these orders to go into further details on this page. It's worth noting that the list that you might see here is not just a list of orders placed through the website online. This is a list of all orders that exist in Dynamics. That includes orders placed manually, typed up manually. That includes orders placed through any other sales channel. As long as it exists there, we have access to show them on the site, giving full visibility to that customer. And as I said, you can open up the order to view more info and order again, right? So if I'm the type of buyer who orders the same thing all the time, well, this might be extremely useful for me because with a couple of clicks, I can build a cart of 10 plus items, 7 items in this case, and be on my way. I don't have to search for each one of them and add them to the cart. Naturally, we're going to view that it's today's pricing, as you can see here, not the pricing from a year ago when I last ordered this. And if we're accepting back orders or we have low stock or no more stock, those types of mentions will be made very clear to the customers too. And from here, it's a regular cart, so I can move it around. I can remove some items, add some as I need, right? You can see the shopping cart is active here, and the system is fully or designed with a mobile-first approach, which essentially means that everything that you see on this page was first configured to be accessible through a mobile device. as we know that's where the entire industry is going online. Even if they don't finalize their purchases through their phone, that's often the place where customers start their journey just to look around. And so different menus are verticalized and so on to make it easy. Now, if I'm the type of customer who wants to search for something new, well, by all means, I can search by category, by keyword. I can search by, year, make, model if you're in the automotive space. Um, but if I find myself on search results, no matter how I search, you'll see the items. Now notice I have the filters down the left-hand side, but notice how now that I'm logged in, I'm showing a price, or I can see my price that I receive set up in F&O. So that represents the customer specific price for myself. And it gives me the options to add these items to the cart, right? So very easily I can sift through these and add one to cart if I so choose to, as you see there. Naturally, I can open up one of these items, let's say, to see more information on the goods at hand. And this is a key component because integration speaks loudly here, right? This item exists in the ERP, right? So key components like, the title, the product code, images, availability, such as inventory levels, pricing, as I already said. These are all coming from the ERP. So as those change there, they will be made available here. But at the same time, you might want to add more information, and you notice that I might add some descriptive elements to the page. I might, group certain items together by color or by other criteria. I might also add specifications in more of a table view, downloadable content, and so on and so forth, right? The typical things that you would need to make an informed decision about buying something. So with that, we have the ability to upload all this extra information without necessarily having to do it in the ERP. It can live in the online store separate from the tool that's used really to source the entire business. And as I said, we can add items to the cart pretty easily. With all that said, I can proceed to my checkout page here. But before I do that, I'll finish. Right before I finish, I'll go to, what we call the quick order tool. So this is another business-to-business specific tool that's set up, and this one is really designed for quick order entry, right? If I need to build a large order in a few seconds, this is the type of tool that I would use because it shows me my shopping cart and it shows me the ability to enter a new code and enter the quantity. And just like that, it's added, right? Without having to search for anything, click on the quantity, add to cart. It's all in one screen. If I have a barcode scanner, I can very easily walk around my shop and scan the barcodes and be on my way. It'll add them by themselves. But if I don't know the code, which is much more common, I might be able to open up the search here and search for something. Let's say this. And when I do, all the results show up on my panel and any of them can be added to the cart with one click and carry on. At all points in time, product information can be showed or pinned for use. So this really becomes a sort of like window that I have, or a working station, I should say, where I can work with. But most importantly on this sheet is if I have a large list of items that I used to email my sales rep, or I used to call in and one by one I would name all the items I needed to buy this week. We can take a spreadsheet that looks pretty much like anything as long as it has the code, the two columns, item code and quantity. And once we have this, all we have to do is copy the cells that you see here, and we can paste them directly into our Order Express page. And within a couple of seconds, you're going to see that all those items are in the cart. So I added 10 items in the span of 1.5 seconds at best. At all points in time, we're reviewing information. If there are any errors that might exist, you're going to see them pop up here with some reasons as to why they might be mistaken. So we'll just remove this. With all that said, we can proceed to the checkout. Key component on the checkout page is that once again, a lot of this data is coming from your single source of truth, right? You got your billing information for that customer. You got your shipping addresses that might be showing up on the screen, depending on what's set up. I can add new addresses on the fly. I can even add from previously used destinations. And I can also add pickup in store as an option if that's something you want to offer. What's great about the pickup in store feature is that you can also include time slots so that customers can see the time slots that are available for pickup, to schedule their pickup and show up at those times. Again, it's about communication and you're both on the same page, essentially, to know when that order needs to be ready by. All this to say, we move through the confirmation page here, or the checkout page, where we see shipping information and all the different, there's many ways to calculate shipping, which today I won't really get into just given the time. But using the carriers that you see on the screen, we can go get shipping. Otherwise, we can just do our own calculation. And then we review the order, right? Where information is given. If taxes need to be calculated, those will be available as well from the ERP or from third parties like Avalara. And then finally, we see the payment information itself. Now, I'll finish on this note. When it comes to payments, this is probably one of the most important things that we need to talk about. Just like product information, just like shipping options and pricing, payment information can be on a per customer basis. So that means that different customers might qualify for different options here. And so we can show the ones that are mandatory for each and every one of those customers. Right? If I have a customer that has net 30, well, I might want to show them a net 30 option, or maybe call it bill on my account. If I have, the general public shopping, or I have certain customers that have not been approved for terms, we'll give them the credit card option, or maybe even the ACH or EFT option there. So depending on who they are, they can be assigned different payment options to continue their purchase. And once done, this is where I'll end here. Once done, the most important aspects here is that order is created within finance and operations in a few seconds. So what's important is you'll see that order in Dynamics the same way that you would have seen any other order there. We're not adding new fields, changing screens, changing windows, or anything of the sort. It's just business as usual for the back-end team. They don't need to learn anything new. More orders will end up being in the system. Those orders will always be up to date and accurate. And from that point, they take it, pick, pack, and ship it and do what they normally need to do. And of course, emails get sent out to everybody involved, thanking them and letting them know that an order was created. So with all of that said, I'm going to pass it back to Amy and take the opportunity once again to thank her for having us here today.